The observation chamber hummed with the low thrum of alien technology as Commander Zexthor studied the human female through the reinforced viewing panel. Jennifer sat motionless in the center of the containment cell, her arms wrapped around her knees, her breathing steady despite 3 standard cycles without food or water. "She shows no signs of breaking," Zexthor's tactical officer hissed, his scales rippling with frustration. "The psychological warfare protocols have failed. She does not respond to isolation, temperature extremes, or auditory stress." Zexthor's triple-jointed fingers drummed against the control panel. The humans had been a curiosity when the Galactic Coalition first encountered them, a species that had clawed its way to spacefaring status from a death world teeming with predators. But this particular human had destroyed 3 of their military installations single-handedly before capture. She was dangerous, unpredictable, and utterly fascinating. "Bring in the Vexillar cubs," Zexthor commanded. A wave of uneasy chittering spread through the observation deck. The Vexillar were apex predators from the night side of Kreeth Prime, creatures of pure instinct and aggression. Even their young possessed razor-sharp claws, venomous fangs, and a hunger that drove them to attack anything that moved. "Commander, the cubs are untrained. They could—" "I am aware of the risks," Zexthor interrupted. "But we need information on the human resistance bases. She will talk when faced with creatures designed by evolution to kill." 2 biohandlers in reinforced suits entered the cell through the lower access port, magnetic restraints barely containing 3 squirming Vexillar cubs. Each was the size of a large canine, their 6 legs ending in hooked talons, their multiple eyes gleaming with predatory hunger. The moment the restraints released, the cubs oriented on Jennifer with mechanical precision. Zexthor leaned forward, anticipating screams, panic, the breaking of human resolve. Instead, Jennifer looked up at the approaching creatures with something that resembled recognition. "Oh," she said softly, her voice carrying through the cell's audio feed. "Hello there." The lead cub rushed forward, claws extended, jaws wide, and stopped 3 feet from Jennifer. Its head tilted, nostrils flaring as it processed scents the monitoring equipment couldn't capture. The other 2 cubs flanked it, their aggressive posture melting into something resembling confusion. Jennifer slowly extended her hand, palm down, making no sudden movements. "It's okay," she murmured. "I'm not going to hurt you." "Impossible," the tactical officer whispered. "The cubs are conditioned to attack. They've been starved for 2 cycles, but the lead cub wasn't attacking. It was sniffing." Its head pushed against Jennifer's hand, and when she gently scratched behind its auditory ridge, a sound emerged that Zexthor had never heard from a Vexillar before, a low, rumbling purr. Jennifer smiled, the first expression besides stoic determination she'd shown since capture. "You're just babies, aren't you? Scared and hungry and away from your mother." Within moments, all 3 cubs had clustered around her. One draped itself across her lap. Another pressed against her side, its dangerous head resting on her shoulder. The third curled at her feet, its breathing already deepening into sleep. "This is unprecedented," Zexthor muttered, his confidence evaporating like water on Kreeth Prime's sunside. Jennifer looked directly at the observation window, though she shouldn't have been able to see through the one-way panel. Her eyes were hard, but her hands remained gentle on the cubs. "You want to know why this won't work?" she called out. "Because humans evolved alongside predators. We domesticated wolves, creatures that could tear our throats out. We made friends with big cats, raised orphaned bears, befriended animals your species would classify as lethal threats. It's not stupidity, it's empathy." She stroked the cub in her lap and it stretched contentedly. "These babies aren't weapons. They're scared children taken from their home, just like you took me from mine." The tactical officer turned to Zexthor. "Commander, we need to extract the cubs before—" "No." Zexthor's voice was quiet. He'd spent decades studying warfare, understanding combat psychology across dozens of species. But he'd never encountered anything like this. The human wasn't dominating the predators through force or fear. She was simply connecting with them. One of the cubs yawned, displaying rows of crystalline fangs that could shred armor plating. Jennifer gently closed its mouth. "Easy there. You'll bite your tongue." "Pull up the human's background file," Zexthor ordered. The data scrolled across his screen. Jennifer Hart, former xenobiologist, specialized in animal behavior and cross-species communication. Before the war, she'd worked at a conservation facility on Earth, rehabilitating injured creatures. She'd only joined the resistance after coalition forces had bombed her research station, killing her entire team. The irony was not lost on Zexthor. They'd tried to break a woman whose life's work had been understanding and protecting living beings, by threatening her with living beings. "Commander," his communications officer spoke up hesitantly, "we're receiving a transmission from Sector Command. They're asking about our progress with the prisoner." Zexthor watched as Jennifer began humming softly, a melodic sound that seemed to soothe the cubs even further. Despite everything, the capture, the interrogation, the lack of food and water, she was comforting her captor's weapons. It was a level of compassion that seemed almost alien, and yet wasn't that precisely what made humans so dangerous? They could find common ground with almost anything. Make allies where others saw only enemies, turn predators into protectors. Across the galaxy, the Coalition had conquered dozens of worlds. But they'd done so through military might, superior technology, and strategic brilliance. They'd never faced a species that could weaponize empathy itself. "Tell Sector Command," Zexthor said slowly, "that we need to reconsider our approach to the human problem." In the cell below, Jennifer had begun to doze, her arms around the cubs that should have torn her apart. And in that moment, Zexthor understood why humanity had been so difficult to defeat. They didn't just survive on a death world, they'd learned to love it. And that changed everything.